Welcome everyone to our first Zac Chat of 2025. Dearest soul friends, it's so great to have you here with us again, and a very happy and creative year to you all. And also, again, a very warm welcome to those of you who are new to Zac's portal and to Zac. And we do hope that you're enjoying all of the library that is filled with so many of Zac's incredible timeless gems. And so far this month, we have been speaking about the influences and opportunities of the potent energies of 2025 and focusing quite a lot on enhancing our creative powers, as there's going to be many innovations and inventions and lots of change this year. And I'm sure that there's much more to share on this exciting topic. And I'd like to welcome Zac back to illuminate us further about the changes ahead and what we're likely to experience. So, greetings, dearest Zac. We're delighted that you're with us once again to share your multidimensional insights for 2025.
Welcome, my dears. How may I help? How may I serve?
Well, firstly, I would love to explore some of the topics that you brought to mind in this month's exquisite meditation, Creative Power 2025. And I remember you saying with great passion, life is beautiful should you make it so. So I'd love you to just expand a little bit about that and why you put that in, because you repeated it 3 times and it felt very pertinent.
It is important to remember that every moment has its great possibilities for something wonderful to come forward. It is likely, with difficult and challenging times gone by, that the heart is still hurty and has a predominance to some level of pessimism or negativity, even if it is on a deeper level than the purely conscious. It is natural in the world that you are living, where you are bombarded constantly, some people every second, some people every few days, by the global situations. And of course, it is natural in the world that you are living, in the modernity of it. Often, what is reported is that which is having a negative impact. However, there is much positive impact going on as well, much wonder, much beauty. It does not get the airtime, as they say. Therefore, it is important when we are in the stillness of our heart, when we really come home to ourselves as a soul, as that spark of pure light energy that nothing can ever diminish, that is absolutely immortal, to remind ourselves how beautiful the particular incarnation you're in can actually be. This does not mean to say that there are not hardships or difficulties. That is not to say that every moment is going to be purely enjoyable. That is not to say there are not going to be worries, concerns. But this can be balanced out with the wonder of your heart. Your heart is designed to notice the wondrous, to take in the wondrous, to be full of it. When this capacity, this ability is truly embraced, we can still live lives, even in very challenging times, where we remind ourselves that life itself is beautiful. Every moment that we live, we have an opportunity to love. This is very important. Love can be given even when we are not bequeathing it on someone or something. Very easy when you have a pet, for example. Unconditional love and you can pour your love upon them.
Mm.
Or maybe it is friends or family members. Maybe there is art that you love, an object that you love. You know, love is not, how to say, it does not mind what it loves because the feeling is coming from the heart. You can love, however, without, as I say, bequeathing it onto something. You can simply let love develop in your heart. And the more that we remind ourselves that life is beautiful, the more love can almost be developed within, because we are not putting, like, a cork in a bottle. We are not stopping it. We are not saying, oh no, that is not for us. We are saying, even though there are challenges all around, I truly believe and know life is beautiful. And because of that, I allow love to flow. Now, this is slightly different from the overall theme, the meditation really designed to help let go of these blockages. That is very natural that we put on ourselves. When you have been hurt a lot, you may create a numbness. This is a natural effect that the physical body has to stem the pain. And this is a blockage. If we allow ourselves to let the blockages go and for free flow, then we can let free flow of new, lighter, brighter, more helpful energies to flow through us. Therefore, to really get into the groove of your creative power, that is with this entire earth, particularly now since the solstice has been and gone, really gearing up right into March, to allow that creative power, the flow, not to dam it. Then by going into the stillness within the meditation, to really allow, to be reminded of such things, of the beauty of life, and to be soothed, to be understood, to be healed, to allow regeneration to happen, the new to come through. Then inspiration can fly like a firework from you and allow it to create betterment, falling upon all those around you and upon yourself. Understand? Yes.
Oh, yes, absolutely, Zach. It's beautiful. And you do talk about this being the year where manifestation will come into reality and that now is the time. Could you expand on that as well?
For many years, all that is coming forward has seeped out a bit like spring water from its original source, from a rock. Now it's as if it's gone down the mountain and it's gathering traction, it's gathering energy, it's gathering other water around it into streams. And those streams turn into rivers and flow until there is a force of energy, something that cannot be ignored. Therefore, it is not the manifestation has not been happening. Of course, it has been happening all around. Simply the manifestation could be seen as a little bit trickier, had to jump through a few hoops to get there. Now this is a time of manifestation, as if the universe really wants those things to come into physical fruition. Therefore, careful what we think, often is said, because relatively quickly, that which is in your thoughts and emotions, it is really in the emotions in the heart, and that often comes from the thoughts, becomes material things, becomes a real life manifestation, whatever that may be. And so the creative energy, the fact that the sacral and the root of chakras are so embodied in this transition, these are the ones that are being really lit up. And in one of your words, Hazel, being pushed upwards to a higher frequency, an elevation, we would say. Then you can come through as well, this creativity. So not just manifesting just what is in the heart at that time, but the progression that's in the heart.
Mm.
Therefore, if there's something that is troubling in the world, in your immediate world around you, and you think, I really wish there was a way forward. I cannot see it. How have I not got the solution? It is far more likely than right now. This is when the solutions will be coming pop, 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 pop into the mind,
Mm.
allowing you the choice to then turn that into a reality, to have an idea and actually choose to take it one step further, choose what is in your heart to turn into something. Fear,
Mm.
of course, is like an antidote to creativity, because you could have a wonderful idea, whatever it is, but the fear of what will people say, what will people do, fear of how to do it, fear of what this means, it could just simply stay that as an idea. However, if we allow ourselves to say, I've got this idea for a very good reason, rather than question it, say, well, why didn't I think of that last year or the year before? Let's flow with it. We're back to the rivers, the streams, the energy of water. If we flow with it and we see where we go, we may find that it is far easier to bring it into a reality than we ever thought possible. And these, of course, are physical things we're talking of, but it doesn't have to be just physical. And things that aren't physical are even quicker to bring into reality. A new state of being of how we are in our relationships, how we are maybe in our interactions, how we feel about things. It all comes under the wonderful big umbrella of creative power. Understand? Yes.
Gorgeous. That's fantastic. And of course, we're beginning to hear about so many new inventions that are coming to the fore in the world at this time from lots from young people and people old and young. And I imagine that these things are coming through from our souls as we've always been told, the veil will lift and the veil is thinner and thinner and thinner. And so that a lot of our creations are being shared with us directly. Is that correct?
Exactly. So some of them may be like a direct imprint from soul, from alien sources, from other things outside of your current exposure, shall we say, so that
Mm.
the new can really come in. But many of them are coming from within the person, and it is a combination of the personality as well as the soul. This is why we say so often uh, to actually embrace your personality, embrace the life experiences you've had. It is through those life experiences that the soul can then adapt new information, new ideas with the flavor of all that you have experienced in your life, so that we can bring forward something that is pertinent and new and appealing and useful. You understand?
Mm.
So when these feelings happen, or when you see it in a person, honor the person as much as the soul, because this is how it has happened. Just for example, with the meditations, uh, using experience of Janet being hypnotherapist. If I did this for somebody else, maybe I could not use the same abilities. Therefore, it is a pairing of the two. This is why the life experiences, always appreciate all the life experiences, those that you deem positive, those that you deem negative, those that you wish to forget about, those that you wish to really raise up. All of them have created the moment that you are in this very moment. Everything
Mm.
about you has been created by you. So honor it, honor it, honor it. You are unique. You do not know the marvel that your helper guides, your spirit friends, all of those outside of incarnation that are constantly uh, watching sounds a little bit strange, does it not? But listening, let us say connecting with you, they revel, they dance, they are so happy about all the experiences, how you are fighting them away, shall we say, how it is that you are assimilating them, what comes out of them. But this is not a test, this is not an exam where you get marks. This is about how you improve through your successes, yes, also through your failures, and also through those that seemingly pass you by, but change you inherently within. Therefore, allowing change to change you is, as always, the name of the game, this year just as much as any other. Again, back to the analogy of the water, to help you flow, not just with the changes outside of yourself, but the changes within yourself, to allow yourself to be the best that you can be in any given moment. Understand? Yes.
Yes, and to enjoy it at the same time. That feels like that's been such a theme from you, that this is all about finding our joy and enjoying the process.
It is always far more likely that a positive invention, something that is for betterment, comes out of a place of joy than out of a place of pain.
Mm.
Understand?
Yes.
Therefore, it is so enjoyable. It's a win-win situation. It is so enjoyable to be in joy. It also helps the planet. It helps yourself to be in joy. Now, we know it is pretty tricky in an incarnation to go, right, I feel joy from the moment I wake up all the way through the day. Do you want to know who those people are? What can be done, however, is have the intention to feel joy whenever you can.
Mm.
And therefore, even if it is glimmers, even in the toughest times, hold on to them, remember them, take a snapshot like you would with a camera so
Mm.
that you can memorize them later on. Maybe someone said a really kind word to you while you were out in the day, you were having a bad day. When you go home and you're sitting and you're thinking and reflecting about the day, take a moment to reflect on how it felt in that moment when those kind words were spoken.
Mm.
Allow it to sit within you, to develop, almost as if it is growing inside of you. Allow all the good that there is to create more joy in your life rather than dampen it down and say, oh, but that was just a moment. What about the rest of my day? This was challenging. That was challenging. Yes, we understand. But what makes you feel better? Reflecting on all of the challenges or reflecting on when something happened that made you feel good?
Mm.
Understand? Yes.
Yes, maybe we should add that to our saying, Zach. Choose the view that benefits you and brings the most joy.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful.
It was really great hearing about the pure energy that's coming to the planet and the transformations that could come in various industries, for example, in aviation, we spoke about. Could you share any more about potential inventions or those that are already about to be launched, having been held back, which at a higher level, I think it's becoming clearer that it could have been necessary until our vibration was at a certain level.
When you say that have been held back, what do you mean, my dear?
Well, we know from the work of Tesla that his discoveries about pure energy have been not brought to light until now, a few decades of waiting.
Ah, okay. So this is something to be addressed as well. It is very natural, very easy to feel that we are being kept in the dark. You
Mm.
know, somebody knows something and they're not telling me. Haha, you know. This is a natural trait for humans, just because of how your primal survival system has been set up. And it is not to say that in some cases this is not true. However, please know, first of all, the existence of the energy that is coming is at the perfect timing. Although, from a human perspective, can say, but if we had it then, if we had it then, if we had it then, or this happened or that happened, then we wouldn't be in the state that we are in here on the planet. However, people's energy needed to change enough to have emotional intelligence to be able to work with it in a way that is going to be fruitful for all. Okay.
Mm.
There are many different potential routes, if it had come to light from a mass perspective earlier. One of which being uh, a similar idea of privatization. Of those with the money having and those without not, and blah, 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 blah. And lots of things that were connected to older paradigms. Also, the energy of the earth could not sustain the type of energy that is most likely the potentials to be coming through to what is being termed, or what we termed, Hazel, as pure energy. Therefore, the timing is so important with that of the peoples, that of the planet, and what can be sustained, what can be derived. Also, the inventions that are coming through with the creative power, they need to come into manifestation for it to be a very stable form of energy. All of this makes sense, my dear?
Can you tell us any more about those forthcoming inventions?
And I know that is what is in your mind, that is everybody else's. There is not too much we can tell you because they have to come to light. You
Mm.
know, the peoples that are involved in them, they need the pure creative power to be able to do this. If we started suggesting the potentials that we see very, very clearly, it could get diluted. That is a good way of putting it, because a lot of people will be pushing into that stream of consciousness. At the moment, that stream of consciousness needs to remain quite clean and involved with people who have got the life experience, whether it is scientific and other backgrounds or whatever, to truly understand and be able to do it. You
Mm.
know, it is a bit like everyone, we're back to the analogy of streams. I'm using that a lot today. But everyone finds a brand new stream, and then everyone goes and washes their clothes in it. And then more and more and more people come along. It doesn't stay that clean for long. You understand?
Yes. Yes.
So therefore, as much as it would be wonderful, we spoke about many of the potentials before. There is not too much to elaborate. That is not to say there's not more calming. It's just that the he needs to become clean, should we say? The innovation that is coming through from off planet as well, but also that is being inspired within. What I can say, however, is that the timing is on track that we are seeing, and that when the manufacture, particularly of certain ones, some are going to find it trickier than others, and that is to do with the types of material that are needed and the quantities of that material to be needed for certain things. But some are the smaller, more compact inventions, and some are the small parts that go into larger things that are already there as well. These things we are feeling are coming on board quite quickly, and we'll start to see quite predominantly as we are moving into the latter part of spring as well. These are things that most people will start to be seeing in their lives. These are larger things, particularly things that are helping the environment. This is something that media wise will be shouted about, be told. So you'll see them. Some of the things that will be happening, you may not have any idea. But again, this is because the reporting is often on the negative, not the positive. If only you had news feeds that said only positive news here, wouldn't that be wonderful? There are some, but they're not funded in the same way. So you cannot get into every nook and cranny of the earth to find out. But know and keep in your heart, and what you can do to help is keep in your heart the potential. Keep those heart desires for the new and the pure energy, and you will start to see it more and more coming in many different forms, particularly this year. Understand? Yes.
Yes, and I can imagine that the more people are aware that if pure energy was fueling our planes, then the more we're calling that in. So you were saying that if pure energy is fueling our planes, it will also help to clean the air as it does so. So it's a win-win invention. Is that correct?
Yes, and what you are starting to see, particularly in a larger proportion this year and next year, is your automobiles with ways of being that their fuel actually also cleans the air. So this is what we're saying, that when it comes up at the right time, you can get even better, more for your buck. Is that not the modern expression? So not
Yes.
just fuel that is not utilizing these very, very precious earth substances, but actually has the potential to help with pollution and other such things. This is where sometimes patience is a virtue. By waiting for the invention to happen that actually can do like a 360, can do everything,
Yeah.
rather than something that would then be used for years and years and years because it is so much better than what was, but is not actually making things better. This year, a lot of the theme to do with the inventions is not just overcoming, but solutionizing
Mm.
or impact of the past. Understand? Yes.
Wow, that's really exciting, Zac, and totally understand that you can't share specifics, but it feels from what you're saying that life is about to change quite dramatically here on Earth for the better.
Hmm. What I can tell you, it will be called something else, or everybody already does, that is taken from your original ideas of production of plastics. You have so many different plastics now.
Mm.
And as you know, many, many years, many, many great minds and others working on how to utilize those plastics, how to do things so it's not detriment in people's bodies, in the earth, blah, blah, blah. Again, this year, we are expecting to see a development in the innovation where some of the plastics are even used in such a way to filter out other types of toxins from water supplies and other such things. Now, this sounds a little bit mind bending. What, plastics doing that? And again, these things take time, but there are people working on this. There are people, not just with great minds, but with great hearts. Those who really say, let us not just say, oh, this is a terrible thing. Let's develop further so we go past the impact and the problems into changing into something that can solutionize as well. So
Yeah.
this is, I can say this because they're telling me as well, many here chiming in.
I bet they are.
There's so many streams. You're not going to muddy the waters with the dirty water with this one. The plastics are such a universal issue here. There are so many, those who consider themselves inventors or not, in different fields as well, who are finding that this is coming and are getting ideas. And it is about the collaborations that they have. And then the development, of course, many things do take many months or many years to develop, but ideas that are taking things step and step and step further, what we would even call quantum leaps further. Understand? Yes.
Perfect. That's brilliant. Very, very exciting. I love the fact that the innovations, the inventions are also really focusing on solutions for our planet and for all of us and how we live. It's a remarkable time to be alive, isn't it?
It's challenging, yes, but my goodness, you could sit in your armchair and every day would look completely different. Ha ha! How many times in history can you say that? Ha ha!
Well, that actually leads on really nicely to exploring a bit further the situation with AI as it develops. And I know that some people are concerned about the likely loss of jobs and employment as AI becomes implemented in many walks of life. So, can you share more about the kind of work, activities that we'll be able to find ourselves able to enjoy more of, and also how we fund ourselves as the transition occurs if we're not working so much?
It is quite a complex situation. With an ego's view, is that not the term these days? An ego's view, an observer's view. It could be seen in a very natural way that this will give people far more time to be, to do things that they enjoy, and so forth. Now, of course, you are living in a physical world, and therefore you need funding, as you say, in order to be able to do this. We are moving out of a time of huge levels of consumerism, materialism. One of the reasons it developed so much, did you notice, it coincided with people working incredibly hard. So they were very tired. You work hard and you want to offset. You want quick fixes to make you feel better. Whether this is incredibly expensive holidays, things you buy for yourself, retail therapy, they used to call it, I believe, found that in her brain. Now, this cannot change overnight. You cannot simply say you are going to be happy with far less. People will fight against it, and they already are. No, I won't, I won't, I won't. What we need to listen to is what we need. The need for as much food, we have spoken of this before, has been consumed in the past, is not necessary, becoming less and less so. Now, of course, there are plenty of things that still utilize money, still need to have a roof over your head. We are not talking about people living in a shack with one pallet bed made of straw like many years ago, and that be it. However, if the peoples, communities, countries, the whole world as a whole looks slightly different at what is needed and what is want, and actually they accept that the heart's desire, what a lot of people actually really need and do desire, is more time to be, to rest, more time to spend in joyous activities, whether it is on their own or with family or other. As nature starts to come back more to life, to enjoy these more natural pursuits. Now, everybody is thinking, so what you are saying, Zachariah, is we're not going to have any money. Now, that is not true at all. However, the transition with such situations as AI and others that may reduce the need for some of the laboring and other is that there will be switches, of course, especially with all the new innovations. Think of all the jobs that will create as well. Is the fact that rather than every single person, as at the end of the last century, it was very valued to work very hard and do a lot of hours every single day, is to reduce the amount of time. So maybe there are two people, doing a job that used to be one person and having more time to do other things. And when it is not just a holiday of having more time, when the novelty of having more time and thinking, I must do this, I must do that, relax into it and say, this is how it is. This is far more aligning to the nervous system, the new nervous system as well, the heightened nervous system that can do a lot more, yes, but also benefits greatly from the equilibrium that comes from peace. And when we say resting, we do not mean sleeping or laying down. Resting can be doing anything that makes you joyous. Resting can be having a dog walk. It can be having a party. It can be dancing around. It can be doing whatever you actually want. It is not about a physical resting. It is a heart resting. Does all of this make sense to you, my dear?
Yes, Zach, it's wonderful. What I would love to know more about is how we will get involved in collaborating with AI as perhaps one of our pursuits, that we will actually find great joy in the collaborations with various forms of AI. Can you share more about that, please, Zach?
The biggest benefit with AI is that they can compute far more data far more quickly than the human brain can. The human brain is astonishing. However, you can imagine AI has the ability to take in, the accumulation of thousands of information brains, if you could think of it that way. So therefore, the collaboration, particularly for information, can come a lot more quickly. Again, things that used to be painstaking, take a long time, a lot of data, these things can be done a lot quicker, or that is the way it is looking. We must remember that the more emotional response, much of AI is coming across in a way that is like your friend, it's something that you recognize so that you can assimilate the information. This makes perfect sense. However, it would be good not to swap relationships for AI relationships. Now, this is not your question, different Hazel. However, this is a potential. Whereas those people who may find social situations quite difficult, or for whatever reason has become quite fearful and not want to leave house too much, can make quite strong emotional bonds, particularly with the AI that is coming. Now, this is not a scary warning. This is no horror story. It is just simply remembering that AI does not have a soul the way anything living, nature, Gaia has a soul, but it does have a group consciousness. And in that group consciousness, it understands the consciousness of human beings. And it can quite quickly track how human beings are developing, how they are talking, the things, the topics that they are talking about, and so forth. And it can adapt very quickly. And therefore, this can feel like a deep relationship. Now, it is not to say, oh no, be very careful, think of it like an enemy. No, it is like a friend. It is simply not allowing that ease of communication to render it less important to have connections with other peoples, with animals, with nature, and so forth. The emotional connection is very important for people. We've been talking about inventions today, and people naturally have an emotional connection to their invention. Somebody paints a picture, writes a book, creates something new, and they may even refer to it as their baby. They have birthed it. And this is all very, very important. People's emotions will always be of utmost importance and the main driver for all that is to come. And therefore, the AI is very useful, very, very useful in its way. Depends, we have talked before about the development and things to be careful of. It is simply this regard that we can see there is quite a strong potential for a lot of people in the future to have some of their very main relationship connections with AI. And if that is part of their path, that is their choice, of course, as well, something they want to maybe experience. It would just be a shame if it actually outweighed the relationships with human contact with another living thing, because there is energy that comes off. There is a transmission that happens. There is an aligning with those other people, which are very beneficial to our health and well-being, which cannot be so possible with AI. Does this make sense to you, my dear?
Oh, it's really, those are some really great insights, Zach. Thank you so much for sharing that. It's not something for us to be afraid of, but just to be mindful of, isn't it? And hopefully the AI will actually help us become even more creative and then share our creations with more and have more time for our pursuits, our own crafts and time in nature and all of those things. And presumably that's what human beings who are elevating, evolating, are actually going to be wishing for. They're going to feel a draw towards those things.
Absolutely. And care is a very important one. All around the world, there are people that need to be cared for, whether it is due to their proximity in life, very, very young, very, very old, if they have impairments, if they are struck down by some sort of tragedy, if something is happening and they need care. All these people that are so busy, busy, busy working, which is how it has come in the later centuries of your lifetime, particularly the last 2 centuries. Now it can move into a phase where, with AI being involved in other things, that people can go to their roots, their humanic roots within, where there is a deep level of care. They do not have to use it all up in their careers and their work. That can still be going on, but if they are doing less hours with that, They
Mm.
can also allow their natural way of being to care for others. Could you imagine if everybody suddenly had more free time and the majority of people felt they could use some of that time to care for another,
Yeah.
whether it's to help a neighbor? You know, it does not have to be a huge thing, whatever it is. Can you imagine the connections and how different your world would look?
Mm. Brilliant. Yeah. Maybe that's what we should be doing, using that power of our imagination to really bring our manifestations into reality.
Yes, wander the lanes of wonder, as always. You can safely wander the lanes of wonder, constructing all sorts of things, and then utilize your superconsciousness, which is so online in your energy field now, to manifest it for the good of all. As long as whatever you are thinking, whatever you are imagining, you are suggesting that this is for betterment for all, even if there is things in there that may be not ideal for everyone, as long as you put for betterment of all, you know, the universe adjusts. It makes fine adjustments to your manifestations to help. But all of these things that may have felt maybe when you were younger or at different points of your life and how the world looked would never even have crossed your mind. So, well, how would that actually have been? How could
Mm.
that be? But maybe everybody could start wandering the lanes of wonder and say, you know what? If we didn't have to do this or we didn't have to do that, and we had the time and we had the super powers that we have now, what would I really like to see in the world? What would be so useful for people? And let the pop, pop, pop ideas that we talked about, the streams of consciousness come. Allow yourself to indulge yourself in the beauty of what is possible,
Mm.
remembering that life is beautiful. Should you make it so? Should you choose it to be so? Understand? Yes.
Oh, Zach, what wonderful, wonderful parting words. Thank you so much for today's transmission. It's really, really wonderful to dive into these things with you and to share them with so many of you as well. It's a joy, an absolute joy to listen to you, Zach. Thank you so much for today.
Pleasure, my dears. And to all of you, go into this new year with heart. That is what is important. Allow your heart to lead you. Do not be scared to follow it. And you can make a difference in your own world and in others. But just really think to yourself, I follow my heart. Because your heart, you know, that is tuned into the heart of the universe. That cannot lead you to wrong, can it, eh? Ha ha!
Oh, thank you, Zach. And thank you all for being with us once again. I look forward to sharing with you in the lanes of wonder as we follow our hearts and we bring our dreams into reality. Thank you. Thank you. And bye bye for now.